yourself for getting the roof off basically, just in case.
What's happened there? The children split the call in again. Station officers here arrived first, checked it out, nothing, nothing. So once again, children false alarm.
I've got 85,000 people out there who expect to make a phone call and the fire service to turn up within a few moments and make whatever's affecting them, make it better. It's what we do. That's what the fire service is about. We carry kit, we carry expertise, our appliances, we make it better. We can't do that if over 300 occasions per year somebody's sending us on a complete wild goose chase.
It was a wild goose chase that sent fire engines to Blackpool's Victoria Hospital in 1996. At the same time, a house caught fire nearby. With the closest fire station busy at the hospital, engines from a neighbouring station were sent instead. John Wrench and Dave Sanderson were first into the house.
Well, we couldn't see anything. When we got into the room, it was just black. We just had to feel our way around. After about a few seconds, John shouted to me that he'd found a child, and the timing was great because the window just came in at the same time. So I knew a ladder was there, and so it was just great. John passed Jason on to me, and then we both passed him onto the ladder. So we couldn't see anything. It was just total blackness.
And what was Jason's condition when you found him?
He was
lifeless.
Lifeless, yeah. He was lifeless, like a ragdoll type.
The child was 5-year-old Jason Walsh.
Saw the fireman going into the room, and it was I had a light with him, searching him out of all the smoke, and I saw him carrying him out, and they put him down on the pavement at first just to check, see if he was breathing properly and all that lot, and then they just brought him into the ambulance. And
that's the first I seen of him, other than him banging on the window, was when they brought him into the ambulance, and you were screaming at the time.
They passed him down the ladder and I received him because I was the only firefighter left outside at that stage, and I immediately attempted to give him CPR because he wasn't breathing at that stage, and there was no sign of any pulse. Managed to get a response from him. We got a faint pulse, and I remember him clearly coughing, spluttering quite noticeably, which cheered me up because I thought, yes, okay, he's been in a serious fire, but at least now we've managed to, rescue him from that fire, and there's a chance that this little fella will live.
Jason was rushed to hospital suffering from smoke inhalation.
We finally got to the hospital. We was both separated. I was put on oxygen and Debbie went through with Jason. And for 1 minute, Debbie tells me he sat up, and Debbie thought, oh, right, it's all over. And then they pronounced him dead. So at that point, I was brought back in. And a lot of it from there is a blur. And I remember sitting in and having to phone your mum. And then relatives come up to the hospital and took us home.
5-year-old Jason Walsh died in a fire at his home in Blackpool this morning. 2 fire engines stationed nearby were delayed getting to the scene because they'd been called out minutes earlier to a false alarm at the town's Victoria Hospital.
There is a station closer to Manor Road than us, that's Blackpool. They were out on a hoax call, which meant we took longer to get there than they would, and it's very possible that made the difference.
Well, in that particular case, in Jason's case, it was, as I said before, a hoax call which took the 2 engines away from where they should have been, which meant we were the next nearest engine a few miles further on, and we had to attend that incident. And I think that was a real cut, that few minutes more really could have helped Jason in that particular case.
So Jason could be alive today?
And without a doubt, yes, I'm sure of that, yeah.
If you start thinking about that, it makes it even harder, because I think that now he's not here, and if you think like, well, them extra 4 minutes or whatever,
It's been deliberately taken from us. Yeah.
And he'd be here, and it's just too hard to think of that, isn't it?
Yes,
So,
very much so. we've lost him and there's not a lot you can do. He fought a losing battle and lost. But that sort of like finished it. So like, that was the worst bit about it, the hoax phone call.
But I would plead with them, beg with them, please, don't do it. Even if your friends ask you to, if they dare you to do it, it really isn't worth it. At the end of the day, it's not a game. It costs lives. It certainly cost Jason his life.
Yeah, quite often when we get house fires or when we get incidents where there is a lot of flames involved in a property fire, it does make you realise that you're not invincible. We have all the protective clothing, but the protective clothing will only protect you a certain amount, and we are always at risk when we go into a house fire or a property fire. And it does make you that little bit more aware of your own personal safety, really. It does make you consider that you're not invincible. You are just, you know, like anybody else. You can burn, you can get injured in a fire yourself, and you can die in a fire yourself. And I think a lot of people that actually set fires or send us to hoax fires don't realise that they're not just putting other people in danger, but they're actually putting us in danger as well.
Yes, yeah, whoever made those hoax calls, because it was to a particular address, a well-known address in Blackpool, to the hospital, and it was proven to be a hoax call, and that person knows deep down that they cost Jason his life, and I wouldn't want to live with that.